Sunday to you. Welcome back to Soul Truth Sunday Live. Listen, I used to struggle big time, good people. I used to struggle with my health, right? So listen, Monday through Friday, guess what? I would meal prep. I would get all that stuff going. I would do all the things I need to do. And then come Friday, after my workout, guess what would happen? I would start binge eating, right? Not because I didn't know what to do, but because of patterns, right? My Friday night special, McDonald's, 20-piece nugget meal, 2 double cheeseburgers, 6 chocolate chip cookies. My Saturday morning breakfast at Golden Corral, I would stuff myself until I was miserable. Not because I consciously wanted to do that. It was because of patterns, good people. In this episode today, I'm going to show you why you keep struggling in the 4 major areas of your life, right? And how I changed it and how most people have a misconception of what struggle really is. You feel me? So, yeah, listen, I'm FL, your life coach, and this is Soul Truth Sunday, baby, where we slow things down, where we recognize our patterns in our own life, where we can regulate, right? So we can express our soul truth and dare to be us. Come on, let's get into it, baby. So listen, most people have a misunderstanding or a misconception about struggle, right? Most people think struggle is always from bad to better, right? But there's levels to struggle, right? So think about, I thought my boys was coming in here. I heard the door open. So think about the caterpillar to butterfly, right? The struggle. The struggle is necessary, right? The struggle is not always from bad to better. Struggle can also be from better to good, good to great, great to authentic. In my experience, in over 20 some years in personal development, right? Coaching people, talking to people from all walks of life, right? Most people don't struggle with bad to better. Most people struggle with from good to great and great to authentic. That's the gap most people struggle with, right? So I'm gonna show you why you keep struggling. So let's get into this first section. I wanted to preface that first about struggle because most people have a misconception. So keep that in mind as we go through this live. And remember, this is a live Q&A. So if you got questions, drop them in the comments. If you join the chat, tell the community where you from. Drop your questions in the comment. When I see them, I promise I get to them, good people. So listen, let's get right into the next part I was going to talk about, which is a blank canvas, right? I want you to keep that thought process about struggle in your mind though as we go through this video. But now I want to talk about blank canvases, right? What is a blank canvas? That's you and me, right? If you at home right now and you watching this, man, pull out a blank piece of paper. Look at it. There's nothing written on it, right? Now think about your life that way. When you come to this earth and you're born, right? When you're pushed out, right? And now you're here on this earth, you don't know nothing, good people. You are a blank canvas. You don't know anything about God, religion, health, relationships, identity, money. You know nothing about nothing, right? So everything that you pick up is what? Learned behavior, learn patterns, right? So before you are even able to pick up your own pen and start writing on your piece of paper, your core beliefs, your core values, who you think you are, what you're trying to accomplish. Guess what that piece of paper has written on it? This is my notes right here. You see my notes. I'll be having a whole bunch of notes. See all this on this piece of paper? That's what your blank canvas looks like. That's what your blank canvas looks like, right? Before you even have a chance to pick up your own pen and start writing your own ideas. So I want you to understand that you and me both are blank canvases, right? But by the time we're able to pick up our own pen, stuff already written on it. So now we got to do the work to look at what's written on our canvas, what to look at that and ask ourselves, is it really serving us now? Right? So watch this. This is what I'm gonna say. How do you learn in those first 7 years as a blank canvas, right? You hear me always talk about this. The brain is underdeveloped at that time, right? So your amygdala right? The alarm system of the body of the brain is the first to develop. And how it develops in those first 7 years is based off what you've seen, what you heard, and what you felt or experienced, right? So in those first 7 years, those environments, right? What environments did you grow up in? I wrote this down. What experiences did you experience, right? In those first 7 years, right? Those first 7 years are teaching. How do I want to say this? Those first 7 years are teaching your brain, right? Your brain is learning within those first 7 years what love looks like, what money feels like, and what you call normal and safe. Think about that. Even if it's really not safe for you, even if it's really not helping you, your brain learned that in the first 7 years, all the way up until you was able to move out and start your own life. But remember, you already got stuff written on your blank sheet of paper. That's why you have to do the work. So listen, I wrote this down. Whatever you saw repeatedly, that's what you label as normal, good people. That's what you label as normal. So listen, I'm gonna say this, man, before I get to the next part. You don't live on the level of your greatness. You live on the level that your nervous system deems as normal. Ooh wee. Okay, so listen. Now I'm getting ready to tell you why you struggle in the four major areas of life. I did a video about this, so go check this out. I believe on this. I believe this. I stand 10 toes down on this, right? The four major areas of life, right? Money, health, relationships, identity, right? This is why you're struggling, right? So here it is. I'm about to give it to you now. I'm about to give you the sauce on why you keep struggling and why I was struggling, right? And I'm going to show you personal stories within all of these on how I overcame it, right? And how I saw the pattern and how I overcame it. So money, this is the first area. Not in no particular order, but these are the four major areas. The first one, money. So think about it like this. If you grew up in households where money felt, how do I want to say this? Where money felt stressful growing up, right? So you heard things like, man, I'm broke. I ain't got that. Money don't grow on trees. Man, that costs too much. Those things sound familiar, right? So if you always felt tight or you always seen your parents or whoever raised you in those environments get tight, they shrink around money, they always talk about money in a negative light, right? I wrote this down. Then that means your nervous system learned that money equals pressure. Think about it. Money equals pressure. So now every time you try to level up your money or every time an opportunity comes for you to start making more money, you self-sabotage, right? Not intentionally, good people. It's not because you intentionally want to hold yourself back. Your brain and nervous system is doing exactly what it was trained to do, right? Right. So take my life, for instance. I told you I'm going to show you pictures of my life in it. So I've always been a six-figure earner, right? But why have I been a six-figure earner? Because what my brain learned in those first early years of my environment. My mom and dad had businesses. My dad and grandmother had businesses, right? So what I heard about money, what I seen about money, and how I felt or experienced about money was six-figure income level, right? So it's no wonder that I'm 47 and I've only had two jobs my whole life, and I've been earning six figures for the last probably 20 years of my life. Like six figures because I seen it. Now my job is to take that pattern and build on it. You feel me? Because every pattern is not bad. That's what I'm trying to show you. But you have to recognize the patterns that no longer serve you, right? And build on the ones that do serve you and then replace the ones that don't, right? So listen, I wrote this down before we go to the relationship part. If if financial if money felt like struggle, this is what I wrote down. If financial struggle was normal to you, then financial success is going to feel foreign because you didn't see it, you didn't learn it. Okay, relationships, same thing, good people. If you grew up in environments where love, now hear me when I say this. I wrote this down, where love looked like arguing, silence, distancing, right? You walking on eggshells. You know what your nervous system learned in those environments? That chaos equals connection. So let me slow this down on this part, really with relationships. Like I said, over 20 some years of personal development. Chaos equals connection. So what does that look like? You keep choosing the same type of partner, even though you consciously know what type of person you want to date. So you ever said this? Why do I keep choosing the same people? Right? Not just in a romantic relationship, business relationships, any type of relationship. Why? Because your nervous system learned that chaos equals connection, right? Right? So when peace or stability shows up in relationships, you reject it. You ever heard people say, especially from a woman's standpoint, like I said, I've been in over personal development over 20 years. Most women say, man, he's too nice. When I used to coach women, well, he's too nice, so he's too this. What? Too nice. So you want somebody to be mean? What they was really saying, now that I know and have language for it, their nervous system wasn't comfortable with somebody who was stable, with somebody who really demonstrated love like they consciously said they wanted. So they kept going back to what was familiar and not what they really wanted, right? So me, I told you, I'm gonna tie myself into this. My relationships that I saw growing up, I've always had healthy relationships. Why? Because I saw that growing up, right? I saw conflict in relationships growing up, but I saw resolution in relationships also. Conflict, resolution, right? So I did see conflict, but I learned early how to resolve conflict in relationships. So that's why on my last video, I talked about with my own sons, how I have to circle back. I learned that. That was a pattern. So now I just double down on that pattern, right? Because that's a good pattern that I want to keep. So I double down on that pattern while I recognize other patterns, right, that no longer serve me. Y'all feel me? Y'all staying with me? Okay. So listen, before I get to the health part, I wrote this down. You're not choosing a partner, right? You're choosing comfort. Oh, we. Think about that. That's why you keep choosing the same people and you consciously know it, but you can't stop it. Just like I consciously knew it about my health, but I couldn't stop it until I recognized the pattern, which brings me to the health part. If you've never seen health modeled, if you've never seen health demonstrated, right, then you're going to self sabotage that. Okay, let me bring this home. Like I told you earlier, I struggle, right? So you know where I got that pattern from? My mom. Shout out to my mom. My mom's still a dog, all that good stuff. But I'm just trying to show you this. This is not blaming anybody. This is recognizing pattern. My mom used to smash a gallon of Rocky Road ice cream and Oreos like it was nothing, right? In one setting, right? So I saw that pattern going up. We used to go to the hostess store. She used to take us to the hostess store when we was growing up. My sister Neil might remember this, man. It's like every Thursday. It might have been like $1.50 Thursday or $1.30. Now I'm dating my age now. You know what I'm saying? So we used to go to the hostess store, get all this stuff. My thing was the honey buns. You know those honey buns with the white icing on it? I used to get about 10 or 12 of them. But guess what? When I got home, I would smash 3, 4, 5 of them in one setting. Pattern, right? Learn pattern, right? So then as I got older, I just told you at the opening of the video, I used to binge eat, right? Not consciously because I wanted to, because I thought that's what I needed to do, because I learned that pattern early. And until I recognized that pattern, I couldn't break it and I couldn't outwork it in the gym. That's why every Monday I would have to start over from ground zero from what I built the week before because of the pattern, right? So if you grew up in environments like that, right, that was stressful, you didn't see health model, right, then you'll probably have a high chance of emotional eating, right? Right? Achievement eating. This is what I wrote down: emotion, stress eating, emotional eating, and achievement eating. What do I mean by that? This is in my own life. Me and my wife can attest to this. We talk about this all the time. We had to break this pattern. Whenever things went good, guess what we did? We went and got something to eat. When we felt emotional, guess what we did? We went and got something to eat, right? When we felt bad or something went bad, guess what we did? We went and got something to eat. That's a pattern, good people. So until you recognize that pattern, you can't outwork a bad diet, right? Health. So if you never saw health model, it's going to be hard for you to do it. And then on the flip side of that, I did see health model for my grandmother. I felt like my grandmother was one of the healthiest people I knew, herbalist, all that good stuff, right? So I did get to see that. So it's no wonder I got to see the best of both worlds, right? But I had to recognize that binge pattern because that was sabotaging me. But watch this. My brain and my nervous system was doing exactly what it was trained to do. It was trained in that. So that's why I want you to understand it's not about willpower. It's not about drive. It's not about motivation. It's about what your nervous system seen, heard, and experienced in those first 7 years. And if you don't recognize those patterns, you will always be spinning your wheels, even though you might be living a good life, but you trying to get to great. Or you might be living a great life, but you trying to get to authentic. And that's the struggle. You trying to get your wings, right? Like the caterpillar in the cocoon. Man, look, I can go deep on that. But listen, before we get to this next session, man, this next part that I want to talk about, identity. I want to leave you with this soul truth. Your body, your physical body will always choose comfort over health unless it saw health. See what I'm saying? Okay, come on, let's get to the next truth. Identity. This is the last part of the four major parts that people struggle with. And this is a big one. High achievers. If you grew up in those environments like me, high achiever environments, entrepreneur environments, right? Your body learns, your nervous system learns that movement equals safety. Your nervous system learns that output or production equals worth. Okay, let me bring this home, especially for most fellas, right? This is why most men tie their identity to work, right? They probably grew up in high achieving households, right? Or along their way, they saw that and learned that, right? That production or movement equals safety or worth, but it doesn't. You gotta learn, you gotta recognize that so you can separate those patterns so you can really get down to your worth. Your worth is part of your being, good people. It has nothing to do with what you do, right? But I had to learn that myself because I grew up in high achieving environments. Like I said, my mom and dad have businesses. My dad and grandmother had businesses, right? So I always saw achievement. I always saw high level of success. So I wrote this down. Stillness will always feel, right? Watch this. Listen to what I'm telling you. Stillness, right, will feel like danger if you grew up in those types of environments until you recognize the pattern, right? And this is one of the reasons why I created my 6-part audio series, good people, plus my workbook, Use It or Lose It, talking about your gift. It's going to help you get your gift off the sideline into the game because most people know what their gift is, right? Most people dabbled around their gift. Most people might even made a little money on their gift, but most people don't live on their gift, right? Because the pattern is blocking them from really stretching out and really tapping into them living on their gift. So click that link. If that's your next logical step, I can help you break that pattern. Click that link. So listen, good people. I'm about to bring this home to you, about to give you 3 steps where you can start recognizing your own patterns. And then man, we're about to get up out of here. Like I said, if you got questions, drop them below. This is a live Q&A, right? And I will get to it. So listen, this is the truth that I want you to hear, right? You don't need more motivation. You don't need more information. You don't need more knowledge. You need a regulated nervous system, good people. That's what you need. So listen, your nervous system, this is it. I'm giving you the 3 steps that I'm done. Your nervous system, I wrote this down. Your nervous system is not addicted to success, abundance, purpose. It's not addicted to making you live your highest life. That's not what it's addicted to. It's addicted to comfort, safety, familiarity. Even if that comfort, safety, and familiarity is hurting you. That's why we have to rewire the patterns and retrain our nervous system to feel safe with the new level, good people. So listen, you got to understand that. I wrote this down, right? You don't need a new life. You need a regulated body to experience it. Yeah, yeah. Now I'm getting ready to give you these 3 steps where you can start regulating yourself today, recognizing the patterns, right? So you can stop struggling, right? Hopefully you saw yourself in the struggle where you are, right? Whether that's from good to great or great to authentic. Hopefully I said something today that made it worthwhile to where you saw yourself and where you're struggling at. And now I'm getting ready to give you 3 steps on how you can break it because you know I'm your life coach. So every Sunday, I'm going to leave you with practical steps. Step 1, recognize. Y'all hear me talk about this all the time. You cannot change what you don't recognize, right? So this is the question I need you to ask yourself today and this week. What patterns did I inherit in those 4 major areas of my life? You don't have to think about it. You don't have to sit with it, right? Because here's what I want you to understand. Awareness is the beginning of regulation, all right? Step 2, regulate. You can't build, I wrote this down, you can't build a new life in a dysregulated body, right? Right? So, okay, let me say it like this, right? You can't put new wine in old bottles. It'll bust it. There go that book, good people. You know I love that book. So listen, you really got to slow yourself down intentionally, good people. Slow down, get in tune with your breathing, right? That creates space for you to get revelation. You always hear me say there could be no revelation without regulation, right? So you got to slow yourself down enough because clarity only comes to a calm nervous system. Okay. The third step, and then I'm done. We out of here. Rhythm, right? Now you got to build a new rhythm, right? Around that new revelation that's coming from you being regulated. So, what's that rhythm look like? That's different patterns, right? Different conversation, different thoughts, different words. I wrote down different habits, right? And put that on repeat mode. Because here's what I do know in my 47 years on this earth, good people, I know this to be true, right? Life will always bring you moments that you have to recognize, and regulate. That's what the work is. That's how you truly get down to your authenticity and you dare to be you. So listen, good people. I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm gonna leave you with this, and we out, and we out of here, right? I don't see no questions, so I'm gonna leave you with this, and we out of here. Listen, you might have grew up in struggle, and you might have to live that. Now that you 30, 40, 50, the ball is in your court, right? It's about recognizing the pattern, right? Regulating your nervous system through it, getting a revelation on what to do different, right? Building a rhythm around that new revelation, and then putting that on repeat mode so you can dare to be you, baby. And listen, next week, next Soul Truth Sunday, we going deeper because I'm gonna tell you really why you built that way. Today I told you why you struggle. It's the patterns, right? But now, next week, I'm gonna show you why you do what you do in a good way, why you built like that, right? It's also the patterns. So you don't want to miss next week's episode. And until next week, baby, look, I'm your host, FL, the life coach, and I'm always spreading that peace and love twice on Sunday. So you go out, you attract the life of your dreams, right? You attract the life of your dream. Oh, I got a comment, still learning things. Yes, sir. We all, hey, listen, we all are. That's the process. It never stops. It never stops. You never stop learning. I tell people it's a journey. Man, I've been in this work for over 20 years and it's a journey. So appreciate that comment. So listen, until next time, y'all already know what to do, good people. Dare to be you. Happy Sunday, baby.